So, good evening, Mr. Cataraja. So, I am Judenil Aninion, and I'm going to present my answer on the questions that you gave to us regarding to chapter 6 and chapter 7. So, in chapter 6. So, the first question is explain the objectives of development and equality plans. So, there are five objectives of development and quality plans, namely scheduling development activities that will lead to the successful of timely completion of the project and estimating the required manpower, resource, and budget. Number two is recruiting team members and allocating development resources according to activity schedules and manpower resource requirement estimates. Number three is resolving development risk. Number four, implementing required SQA activities. And lastly, providing management with data needed for project control. So first, it is what is scheduling development activities. So this what you will do in order to uh, this is what this is one of the objectives of development and quality plans in order to achieve a successful development or successful plan. You have to schedule the activities. Second is recruiting team members. So when you recruit team members, you have to recruit the members that is suitable for that kind of activity. So that according to the activity schedules and manpower resource requirement estimates. And then third is resolving development risk. So in order to achieve a good development and quality plan, so you have to resolve the development risk. And then fourth is implementing required SQA activities or what you called software quality assurance. So when we say implementing required SQA activities, so it is very common so that the the development would be in software quality assurance. So the the development of the plans should be in a good quality. Fifth is providing management with data needed for project control. So we all know that management is very important in any aspect, especially when building project, because one of the reasons why project success because of good management. Then second question is identify the elements of a development plan. So first, so by the way, the elements of a development plan has 11 elements. So first is project products. So the development plan includes the following products. First is design documents specifying dates of completion indicating those items to be delivered to the customers or what we call the deliverables. Second is software products. So what are the software products? So specifying completion date and installation site. And lastly, the training task. So the specifying dates, participants, and sites. Second is the project interfaces. So project interfaces includes interfaces with existing software packages or what we call software interface. Second is interfaces with other software and or hardware development teams that are working on the same system of project. Example for that is cooperation and coordination links. Lastly, interfaces with existing hardware or what we call hardware interface. Third element of a quality plan is project methodology and development tools to be applied at each phase of the project. When evaluating the suitability of proposed project methodology and development tools, one should also take into account the professional experience of the staff, including the subcontractors, personnel, even if temporary. Fourth is software development standards and procedures. So it is a list should be prepared of the software development standards and procedures to be applied in the project. Fifth is the mapping of the development process. Mapping of the development process involves providing detailed definition of each of the project's phases. These these descriptions include definitions of inputs and outputs in the specific activities plan. Activity descriptions include an A, an estimate of the activity's duration. These estimates are highly dependent on the experience gained in a previous project. B, the logical sequence in which each activity should is to be performed, including a description of each activity's dependence on previous completed activities. C, the type of professional resources required and estimates of how much of these resources are necessarily for each activity. Sixth is the project milestone. So for each milestone, its completion time and projects, what we call by the project products are the documents and code are to be defined. Seventh, project staff organization. So the organization plan comprises first organizational structure, second is the professional requirement, then third is the number of members required, then the name of the leaders and team members. So first is the organizational structures. So definition of project teams and their tasks, including teams comprised of a subcontractor temporary workers. Then second is the professional requirements. So professional certifications, experience in a specific programming language or development tools, experience with a specific software product and type, and so forth. Third is the number of team members required for each period of time according to activities scheduled. It is expected that team will commence their activities at different times and that their team size may vary from one period to the next, depending on the planned activities. Fourth, and lastly, name of the team leaders and team members. Difficulties are expected to rise with respect to the long-term assignment of staff members to teams because of unanticipated changes in their current assignments. Therefore, the names of staff are required to help keep track of their participation as a team member. 8. Development facilities. So, required development facilities include hardware, software, and hardware development tools, so office space, and other items. For each facility, the period required for its use should be indicated on the timetable. Development risks. Development risks are inherent in any project. To understand their pervasiveness and how they can be controlled, we should first define the concept. A development risk is a state or property of a development task or environment which, if we ignore, will increase likelihood of project failure. According to Roponen and Litinen 2000. So what are the typical development risks? So first, there is the technological gaps. Second is staff shortages. Third is interdependence of organizational elements. So first, the technological gaps. So it is the lack of adequate and sufficient professional knowledge and experience to carry out the demands of the development contract. Second is the staff shortages. So it is the anticipated shortfalls of professional staff. Third and last is the interdependence of organizational elements. So this the likelihood that suppliers or specialized hardware or software subcontractors, for example, will not fulfill their obligations on schedule. Number 10, the control methods. In order to control project implementation, the project manager and the department management apply a series of monitoring practices when preparing progress reports and coordinating meetings. The 11th and the last one. So, project cost and estimation. Project cost estimates are based on proposal cost estimates followed by a thorough review of their continued relevance based on updated human resource estimates. Contracts negotiated with subcontractors and suppliers and so forth. For instance, part of the project plan to be carried out by an internal development team needs to be performed by a subcontractor due to unavailability of the team. A change of nature is usually involved in a substantial additional budget. So third question for the chapter 6 is identify the elements of a quality plan. Also, wrong. So this is the elements of quality plan. What I answered earlier is the elements of a development plan. So this is the elements of the quality plan. So first is quality goals. So what is the quality goals? So the quality goals should reflect the major acceptance criteria indicated in the customer's requirement document. Example, the RFP document. As such, quality goals serve as a measure of its successful achievement of the customer's quality requirements. Second is the planned review activities. The quality plan should provide a complete listing of all planned review activities, design reviews or DRs, design inspections, code inspections, and so on, with the following determined for each activity. First is the scope of the review activity, the type of the review activity, the schedule of the review activity as defined by its priority and succeeding activities of the project process, the specific procedures to be applied, and lastly, the question, who is responsible for carrying out the review activity? Third, planned software test. The quality plan should provide a complete list of planned software tests with the following designated for each test. First, the unit integration of the complete system to be tested. Second, the type of testing activities to be carried out, including specifications of computerized software tests to be applied. Third, the planned test schedule as defined by its priority and the succeeding activities of the project process. Fourth, the specific procedures to be applied. And lastly, who is responsible for carrying out the test? Fourth, planned acceptance test for externally developed software. A complete list of the acceptance test plan for external development software should be provided within the quality plan. Items to be included are the purchase software, the software development by subcontractors, and the customer supplied software. The acceptance test for externally developed software should parallel those used for internally developed software tests. Fifth is the configuration management. The quality plan should specify configuration management tools and procedures including those change controls procedures meant to be applied throughout the project. fourth and last question for chapter 6 is discuss the benefits of preparing development and quality plans for internal projects. So it is recommended that internal projects undertaken on behalf of other departments and for development of software packages geared towards the market be treated as regular project. This implies that full-scale development and quality plans are to be prepared. Their benefits include a the development department will avoid losses incurred by unrealistic timetables and budgets, as well as the consequent damage to other projects and to firm's reputation. B, the internal or the customer will enjoy reduced risk of late completion and budget overruns in addition to and by improved project control and coordination with the developer. Last is the firm will enjoy reduced risk of software product late entry into the market, reduced risk of a decline in a reputation resulting from late supply, and reduced risk of budget overruns. So, chapter 7. So, first question in chapter 7 is describe the various software development models and discuss the difference between them. So, first is the SDLC, the most common one. The software development lifecycle model is the classic model still applicable today. It provides the most comprehensive description of the process available. The model displays the major building blocks for the entire development process, describing a linear sequence. There's also another model. So the prototyping model is based on replacement of one or more SDLC model phases by an evolutionary process where software prototypes are used to communicate between the developers and the users and customers. Third is the spiral model, provides a methodology of ensuring effectiveness performance at each of the SDLC model phases. It involves an iterative process that integrates customer comments and changes requirements, risk analysis and solution, and software system planning and engineering activities. So last model is the object-oriented model. This incorporates large-scale reuse of software by integrating reusable modules into new software system. Question number 2. Explain the different aspects of verification, validation, and qualification for quality assurance activities. So, in quality assurance activities, verification is the process of evaluating a system or component to determine whether the product of a given development phase satisfy the condition imposed at the start of the phase. So, validation is the process of evaluating a system or component during or at the end of the development process to determine whether it satisfies specified requirements. Then lastly, qualification is the process used to determine whether a system or component is suitable for operational use. Last question. Describe the model for SQA defect removal, effectiveness, and cost. So the model deals with two quantitative aspects of an SQA plan designed for a specific project. So first model is the two quantitative aspects. So the first quantitative aspect is total effectiveness of defect removal. Second is total cost of defect removal. So the model is based on the following assumptions. So The first assumption is the development process is linear and sequential. Therefore the waterfall model. Second is a number of new defects are introduced in each development phase. Third, various review and test software assurance activities serve as filter, removing a percentage of the entering defects while allowing the rest to pass to the next software assurance activity. Fourth, the incoming defects are the sum of defects passed from the former quality assurance activity together with the new defects created in the current development phase. Fifth, the cost of defect removal is calculated by multiplying the number of defects removed by the relative cost of removing a defect. So that's all. Thank you.